work with an enormous amount of international actors. You've always worked.
Yes, what amazes me is I feel like the international world seems to be sponging all my knowledge lately.
Yeah.
You know, because I go to so many places, and I just came back from Rome, and I came back from Barcelona. You know, it fascinates me because every time I go to one of these places internationally, I find that all these actors are basically the same. They're just starving and hungry for knowledge.
What's the difference between people in other countries?
You know, it's interesting. There's a lot of similarities, of course, because actors are all afraid that they're not going to do well, etc. But I think that the training is more oriented towards attacking the character too quickly, getting into the character. You know, it's like whether it be colleges.
Quickly, as in when they get the scripts.
Yeah, they get the script and then they immediately go to the character. What's going on with the character? What's going on with the character? And then they get locked into the character. And then they end up, they're not ready yet. They don't bring enough of themselves into it. Their training is out, damn spot, out, I say, you know. And not that I don't love Shakespeare, but Shakespeare didn't intend for people to play Shakespeare. When Shakespeare wrote it, it was a conversation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a conversation. People were saying, out, damn spot, out, I say. They didn't go, out, damn spot, out, I say. And there's a lot more performance orientation. They're performing. They're trying to show a lot more. I feel they're not trusting the intimacy of what you and I are doing right now, having a conversation. I think that's one of the big things that I see is their focus when they're internationally in that space of I need to let people see the outside first and not so much of the inside. Yeah.
Also, Los Angeles particularly is filled with actors. You're going to other parts of the world, people all want to come here.
Yeah.
What do you think when they arrive here is the first thing that you would want to work with them on? I mean, what is the difference?
Well, you know, I have a lot of people that come. I have this weekend, crazy weekend, but I have people literally flying out from London, where you're from, darling. Not London, but England. They come out just for the weekend, you know, and or they do an international program that we have, and they come out, and the first thing that I have to help them with is to let them know that the relationship and the connection is truly what guides you. And that stops them from letting them show so much about what's going on with this character.
Right.
You know, I find that the connection is the weakest. For some reason, the connection should be the strongest. Usually the connection is the weakest.
And you work with, I know, you work with a lot of people from Australia or from
I love my Australians.
places like that. And I know that they tend to come with drama school training
Yep.
or a very specific kind of approach to acting, to the craft of acting.
Right.
And then, I mean, I know this from my experience, we come to you, and sometimes it feels when you first get there that it's actually less specific. And then, you know, it's sort of more about creation. And as I've been working with you for
Yes.
a long period of time, I realize how specific it's actually.
For sure.
So much more so. But
It's so much. Well, it's so much more specific when you are creating a life that isn't controlled by your technical approach.
Yeah.
And I think that these people that come from all of these drama schools have been so oriented towards technical approach. They do script analysis.
Yeah.
You know, and script analysis, the first thing people say to me, are we going to be working on script analysis? You know, I said, I hope not. But of course it is, you know, in its own sense. Of course it is. It's just not, it's not skewed towards the technical aspect of it. It's skewed more towards the specifics of the creation. I mean, we create, and I work with every single line. Every line that is in the script, I look at specifically with the actor so we can find the clues and create. But we're not putting action on lines, you know, we're not making the words important.
Yeah.
You know, we're not hitting that.
I
What we're
think
doing is
what happens a lot is people, when they first come to you, they throw things that they've done out, and then it becomes general because they're not
Or, oh, for sure. What happens is there's a misunderstanding. They think, oh, I'm just not going to do anything. I'm just going to listen, or I'm just going to throw everything away and just be present in the now. And oh, Margie loves it all about relationship. Let me just do relationship.
Yeah.
So now they're eye-stooping people.
Yeah.
The connection is, let me just stare at you because Margie told me it's about the relationship. No, it's an addition. It's not an exclusion. It's an addition. You want to be able to exclude all the specifics that you are learning as you're creating versus breaking down the script.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be guided only by those choices you make.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're controlled by it.
Right. And when you travel, you do different kinds of sessions, or how do you work with people internationally? Is it all just small groups? Or?
Well, I do different kinds of, when I travel through Europe or the United States or even Indonesia and all the places I've been to, depends upon what's going on, what their needs are, who asks me and sends me over there.
Yeah.
Recently, being that I was in Italy and in Barcelona, I had a Masterclass group, which was a really fun experience because these were the more advanced actors that came to me, and it's a small group of 14, 16 people that really excites me because I'm able to work with them. They're mostly, a lot of them are theater actors, and they're learning how to create and not lose their specifics, but to create outside of their box, you know.
Right.
Then what's great about it is I can have observers, people that can be watching, and I can still be involved with them that are not at that level, and that I love teaching that to them so that they don't get too screwed up with teachers that teach them technically.
Yeah.
So basically, that's one. Of course, I've done the Live Live session, which is where you can have a couple of hundred people in the audience, and I spend 5 hours teaching the specifics of what I do, and I bring people up and give them an opportunity to learn the phrasing.
So many people come to you full of fear. They arrive in Los Angeles trying to, like you said, trying to make it, and they're frightened and they're nervous. How do you make people feel comfortable? Why is that important?
Well, you know, people come from all over the world to Hollywood, or I say Hollyweird, and they come over because they want to make it. They want to be successful. I mean, why do people come to Hollywood? Because it's the place. It's a mecca of film and television, and everybody comes from all over the world, and they have expectations that aren't always realistic. And their thought is, well, if I get here, I'm going to make it. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to do film and television. And the pressure that they put on themselves is to achieve success versus what I help them with, which is more of giving them the power to find their talent and go into a journey of the deliciousness of living other people's lives. That will come. You will end up working you will be a working actor if your goal is not to be controlled by that result, that end result.
Yeah.
So what happens to people when they meet me, you know, the beginning they go, oh, Margie Haber, she's so well known, and what ends up happening is they go, oh, Margie Haber, the compassionate person, the person who's empathetic and who cares about me. And then what happens, and I think is the most important part, is when people come into the group, is that they start caring about each other.
Yeah.
That they stop being narcissistic and think only about themselves. They start going, can I help you? And the group becomes very supportive.
Yeah.
I find that to be the way that the fear is diminished.